Hello everyone. So in this video we are actually unboxing one of the very exciting standard lens that Sony have to offer for their full frame A7 series of the cameras, and that is the Sony Zeiss Sonnar T Star FE 55mm F1.8 ZA, whatever that means. This lens features a 49mm filter size and is specifically designed for full-frame Sony cameras. Now this lens probably has been on the market for a little while, but regardless, I actually just got it today. Now is early March of 2019, and I really hoped that I would had got this lens way earlier instead of buying the FE50 F1.8 that they had offered for sale at a much reduced price. I bought this with the A7 III when I first got my camera, and now I'm actually probably gonna be ready to sell my FE 50mm F1.8. So this video is mainly about this lens. From what I heard, it's a fantastic lens either for standard photography or for video recording. So let's get started. I actually bought this lens used from Adorama, from their used department. The lens right now, brand new, sells for $949, and I got this one in used condition. I think it's they rated it as a demo version, so pretty much the lens is brand new. It looks like it's never been used, which I don't know, because I'm gonna open up and take a look inside and see what it looks like for a condition 10 used lens from Adorama. Okay, and it's my first time buying a used lens from Adorama also. So this is a standard Sony fare, the orange packaging, and open up the package. Also very standard Sony fare. Everything is like super simple, almost to a point that looks cheap. Here's your lens bag, and out of the lens bag is a lens. Now, probably because this is used, they may have some more padding materials. They may have bubble wraps like some of my other Sony lenses when I got them. But this is generally what it looks like when you get a Sony lens, like very simple packaging. And over here is a whole bunch of manuals. And here is a warranty card. Not warranty card, but the lens check card for Zeiss lens. And this lens looks like it's printed in Thailand. I'm not sure where the lens is made. We're gonna take a quick look in a little bit. So take the lens out, and I'm just gonna leave the pouch and everything inside. So it's with Sony branding. And we're gonna focus on the lens itself. And right off the bat, I can tell that this lens have a much better build quality than my 50mm f1.8. Surprisingly, the filter size is exactly the same as the 50mm f1.8. They're both 1.8, and they're both standard zoom lens around 50 to 60mm range. Now I know the new trend that every manufacturer started is drifting away from 50mm. I guess they want just to be special, so they offer a 45mm, they offer a 40mm, a 55mm, or even a 60mm. And to me, it's pretty much marketing, because a standard lens is a standard lens. It covers about the same amount. It's the same angle of view. So I think they want to make this 55 1.8. They want to make it 55 to distinguish this from the standard Sony 50mm f1.8, which is a very budget lens. I'm going to take the lens out. Take a look again if you haven't seen my previous unboxing video for the 50mm. very standard fare with bubble wraps that looks super cheap. Well, this is a cheap lens. It's about $250 right now in most retailers. And take the box away and take a look at the lens. So again, this is the 55 and this is the 50. Take a look at the side profile. The 55 is slightly longer than the 50. And they even look very much alike. The difference is that this have a full metal lens barrel and this have a full plastic lens barrel, the 50 F1.8. So filter size exactly the same, and in terms of lens hood, the 55 have a much more I guess have a peta shaped lens hood. So and the 50 just have a standard barreled lens hood. This lens hood also feels slightly heavier because they actually incorporate some design elements, which is like a metal rim around it with Sony branding. And I mean, this one looks nice, but it also adds a little weight. So I'd rather prefer a full plastic lens hood that does the protection, and it's also slightly lighter. So lens hood aside, take a physical look again at both lenses. The 50mm is it's actually a tad wider than the 55, but a tad shorter. So let me take off the lens cap and we can do another comparison. This is the 50, this is the 55. This one is $250. This one is close to $1,000. So almost 4 times the price of this one. And construction wise, this is the size and length difference. If you take a look inside, of course the lens element design is totally different. This one have a much more this one have the back element much more closer to the rear of the lens mount, and this one is actually quite recessed. And in terms of the aperture blade, let me actually put up the. In terms of aperture blade, this one features a beautiful round aperture blade, and this one just have a standard, I think it's 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 blade, and this one should be a 9 blade. Yep, this is a 9 blade, this is a 7 blade. So right off the bat, the bokeh is going to look much better on the 55 1.8 compared to this kind of a square edged aperture right over there. And in terms of coating, because this is a Zeiss, I'm a ophthalmic photographer, so I work in the hospital as well as on the weekends, doing engagement shoots and whatnot. The Zeiss, we have a few Zeiss ophthalmic OCT machines that does that scans the inside of your eye, and it's tested and true that Zeiss coating is most definitely a superior coating compared to any of the standard cheap multi-layered coating. This coating is very resistant to scratches, very resistant to fingerprints. Like even if you get oil and smudges on the lens, it's very easy to clean and it doesn't leave any mark. Compared to some other lens that we had in the hospital, that it's just a horrible multi-layered coating that when you get an oil smudge on it, it's really hard to clean. I've never had problems with smudges on my lens because rarely I touch them, and I always have a filter on top of the on the front of the lens. So that's really not of an issue. But what I want to say is that Zeiss coating is really superb. Like if you have a chance to test it out, and if you don't mind destroying two of your lenses, compare the coatings, the Zeiss is gonna most definitely withhold the abuse much longer. So I think your money spent 4 times more spent is for the construction, the build quantity of the lens, and the coating on the lens. Later on, I'm gonna actually put both lenses on the camera, and then we can take a look and see the difference in terms of the lens performance, especially autofocusing. So I was really dissatisfied with the 50mm f1.8's AF performance because it's kind of slow and it's super noisy. So it's really not good for doing video recording. And since now I do a lot of video, you know, reviews, and we're not, a lens with a quiet autofocus is almost it's almost a must. So from what I heard, this lens is super quiet, and from what I heard, this lens is superb at doing video recordings. So we're gonna take a look in a little bit. So there is your physical comparison, and lens cap is exactly the same. I didn't even know which lens cap is for which, so I'm just gonna put one on each, and I'm gonna put up the lens hood, and you guys can see the overall length of the two different lenses. And I'm almost certain that the lens hood is probably interchangeable. Yeah, probably interchangeable. So here you go. Here's the difference with the lens hood installed. Again, the 55 is slightly longer, but it's narrower. It's actually slightly easier to hold in your hand. So there you have it. Next, let me find a camera. So right over here, I have, okay, one thing with those kind of petal lens design is it's really horrible. Like if I put the lens over here, the Sony is okay because the lens hood is still flat. What I have here is the Sigma 35 1.4 Art. Absolutely horrendous lens hood design. So it looks really nice, looks really cool, but if you put it on the table, oh no, it's gonna fall. So I made a video complaining about Sigma's lens hood. It's just a horrible design. So maybe there are some other lens hood that I can use to replace this. For now, I just want to complain about the petal-shaped lens hood. That it's the round shaped is much more practical, you know, in actual use. So 35 1.4 from Sigma. Again, today we're not talking about this lens, but it's still a fantastic lens to have. I'm gonna mount the 50mm f1.8 first for you guys to hear the noise of the autofocusing. So we turn on the camera, take off the lens hood, and let's see if I can just go back to the camera over here. See if it can focus. Nope. So my camera have a limitation on the minimum distance. For now, I'm just gonna put this close to the microphone so you can hear the sound of the focusing. Okay. Let's see. So this is a 50mm f1.8 doing its magic, focusing back and forth. It's not pretty. The focusing speed is okay. It's not super slow, but again, it's not super fast. And it does lock onto stuff, and it does, you know, track the stuff. But it just makes a horrendous noise. So now it's tracked onto stuff. I'm sorry, like this is really blurry. Just hear the sound of it tracking stuff. It just clicks, and it's horrible. Now I'm gonna actually put on the 55mm, and we're gonna try to hear the difference. And I'm pretty sure it's gonna make me very happy. And that is one reason I already put this lens in the box, because I'm just gonna sell this lens as soon as possible. And it just feels right. It's solid, but it's not overly heavy. the entire thing is made of metal. Even the focusing ring is metal. So the build tolerance is just, it's a beautiful lens, like really beautiful. So turning on the camera. And the focusing is amazingly fast and amazingly quiet. The only sound I can hear is actually the in-camera stabilization out of the camera itself, not actually the lens. The lens does not have a built-in image stabilization, but I'm just gonna focus on the stuff again, and you guys probably won't hear any noise besides the stabilization. So I'm gonna also change my focus on my Sigma 2 manual focus. So let's see, go any closer. Nope, that's the closest it would go. So I'm pressing the shutter, and I'm gonna press the shutter and just hold my hand in front of the lens, and this is the focusing sound. It's so much quieter. Since I'm going to be using an external microphone very soon, I don't think this is going to be a problem when doing recording, and it's really, really quiet. Now I'm going to actually do a continuous tracking. It's visually silent, so when you're tracking subjects, especially outdoors, you're not going to hear any sound from your camera, that's for sure. It's super, super quiet. And it tracks very accurately, tracks very fast. Right now the light is not even, very bright. I'm using an available light. It's just amazing. It's super quiet. In my opinion, again, the standard focusing lens, 50 to 55, is my favorite. It's so versatile, it's so useful, and I would have to say I wouldn't be able to live on and continue with my camera life without a standard lens. You just gotta have one. If you don't have $1,000 to put out, the 50mm f1.8 is gonna do mostly just fine. But if you're actually doing video, your best option would probably be a manual focus lens that doesn't make any noise, or you could use this in the manual mode. Or save enough money and get the 55 1.8 if this is an angle that you're going to use quite a lot. That is my opinion, but as soon as I picked up the 55, I don't think there's any way for me to go back to the cheap 50mm 1.8. That's why right now, as of we're speaking, it's gonna go to the orange box again to be sold. So, in conclusion, fantastic lens, fantastic build quality, and there's no complaint. It's just, and it looks beautiful with a A7 camera. Yeah, I think I'm gonna be using this lens quite a lot. There you have it. If you guys have any questions or comments about the 55 versus the 50, feel free to ask me in the comments section below, and I'd be happy to see your comments and maybe answer some questions for you guys. So at the end of this video, I'm also going to post a few samples taken with the 55 1.8 and the 50 1.8. So very important before I finish this, image quality wise, the 50 1.8 is also very, very sharp. It's a very sharp lens, very nice, makes clean images. Contrast is decent. It's the downside is the autofocus. It's just so slow that there's no way for professional work that it's gonna satisfy your needs. So if you're getting paid to do jobs, you definitely need the 55. Stretch your budget and get the 55. That is my final comment. All right. So thanks again and take care.